It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him. Our farmer extraordinaire, Jerry Groskreutz, back with us. Jerry, after chatting about last week and all you went through, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great, Al.
Are you?
It's amazing what they can do with
It,
modern medical technology.
it is, but you got to look back now at a couple of weeks and think, man, that's a close call. I mean, it's got to affect you in some way.
It kind of does, Al. You know, it first happened to be 20 years ago. How many people do you know that survived their widowmaker being 90% blocked? How
Yeah.
many people do you know that survived their widowmaker being 95% blocked? 2 years later, when it happened 20 years ago, it's kind of like, why am I still here? Because I shouldn't be. And all I could come to grips with is the good Lord decided it wasn't my time yet. I was
There you
supposed
go.
to do something here. Well, this last time when I was getting checked in at Abbott Northwestern, what that emergency trauma physician told me part of the reason that I'm still here, because I have the privilege of being on your show and have the microphone here to spread the word and talk to other farmers about what that emergency trauma physician told me up there about farmers maybe start to think about and take care of themselves too.
You bet. Oh, yeah, you bet. You take care of everybody else. But that's kind of the whole point of what we talked about last week, is you were given signs.
Yeah.
You were all but saying, hey, go to the I mean, you're looking for a sign to say, go to the doctor. You were told, and it took people around you to finally kick you in the arse and get you to go and check it out. I mean, you don't want to go that far, I guess is my point, is when you have those signs, the chest, I got to sit down and wait a while till my heart gets, that's a sign. Yeah. Get yourself in. Get it checked out.
And I was having no symptoms for about 2 days, and I mentioned it to my wife, the retired nurse. Next thing you know, we're going to Abbott. But I said, well, maybe we should just go to urgent care. And Louise said, yeah, you go to any urgent care and you say, I had a stint 20 years ago. I'm going to do something physical. I got this pain kind of across the top of my chest and my back. They're going to call the ambulance. They're going to take you to Abbott anyway. So we're going there. But it's amazing what they can do. Some yahoo walks in that they don't know. We walk in, I'm standing, looking down at this receptionist. She's in her little, and I said, well, I had a stint 20 years ago, and now I've got this pain when I do something physical. Just walking in here, I can feel it, and it's not normal. And I guess I'd already told her my name. It was like a NASCAR pit stop. All at once, there's a nurse there, rips the coat off my back, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair. She scoots me around behind the person I was just talking to. And instead of facing others in the emergency room, she's facing me the other way. All at once, somebody grabbed my arm, and they got a sterilizing swab. And somebody says, going to be a freak. We need to take a blood test. Somebody grabs a shirt down my belt, rips it up to my chin, and they start putting all these wires on. I didn't even know what was going on.
Can I ask your name first, ma'am, before you take my clothes off? Please. Goodness gracious.
And all at once, then the doctor comes in and says to Louise, well, you said we put a stint in, but I can't find it. And Louise said, it's 20 years ago. And she looked and, well, that explains that. And she said, given your EKG not looking normal, typically we do a stress test, an echocardiogram, all these tests they do. Mm-hmm. Given your history, so we're going to check you in. We're going to keep an eye on your schedule. Just go and schedule an angiogram tomorrow. When you get a medical diagnosis that could be really bad, it takes you a few seconds for it to sink in about what's going on. And they said something like, well, at least it isn't my imagination and I'm not wasting your time.
Yeah, that was the good part of that. Holy smokes, Jerry. Goodness gracious. No, I get your point. But we're back. Go ahead.
I think this is kind of a man thing, but it's a farmer thing more so. And she said, you farmers, you take care of everybody else and everything else, your family, your crops, your livestock, your land, and you don't worry about taking care of yourself. And you got to pay attention when your body's telling you something. And she goes, you work for us every day. You produce our food. If something isn't right, why don't you let us take care of you once in a while?
See, that's really nice. And I think that as much as that is a farmer thing, absolutely right. I think a lot of guys will not read the signs and ignore the signs and think they can plow through. I just think it's something we all need to learn from. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're still doing this. Now we've saved you this long, but I got bird flu in the news again, Jerry. This bird flu thing it's going to kill us all at some time. It's appeared in a commercial poultry flock in Minnesota, and they don't tell us where. First time since October. Do you know where this flock is, Jerry? I don't want to go anywhere near it.
I don't, but I could probably find out. But there again, it's probably migrating waterfowl. But boy, waterfowl should be
a little late
by now and be long out of here, shouldn't they?
Well, and what's with this not telling you where the birds have it at? I liken this. This is, back. Do you remember back in the day, Jerry, when we were in school and some kid would get lice and they'd send a note home, hey, little Al Travis got lice. People know what he's got. Don't share hats with him. They can't do that anymore, right? You can say there's an incident of lice in the building, but you can't say what kid or what grade or anything like that. So everybody's panicked. What does that got to do with bird flu?
Yeah.
I want to know if it's in the poultry barn down the road or not, don't I?
Yeah. Well, trust me, Al, the other poultry producers in the area do know because the Minnesota Board of Animal Health is out there checking each one of the barns around there and talking to the producers, anyone that would be within a certain area. So maybe Al and Jerry don't need to know, but the people that do need to know do know. Trust me.
All right, and that's fair enough. But back to we don't do anything about it, right? Your flock has bird flu. We just kill them off, right? I mean, that's what happens, right? That's all we do. There's no other remedy.
But the barn that broke will be euthanized because 90-some% of the birds are going to die. So it's a humane thing to do. And one of the things that they've changed is their protocol back a while ago was then they draw a circle around that barn that broke for so many miles, and all those birds would be euthanized. Now, because they're so much better at understanding how it moves and biosecurity, that they will quarantine the other barns, but they won't euthanize them because maybe they won't break.
Well, this is what I've read, and I'm not saying they're smarter than us because I'm not, but I believe under both Canada and Mexico do not do bird flu the same way. They let that go through a barn, and like you say, 90% will die, but then the 10% that are left, they believe is going to have immunity for it, so they're building stock that will have immunity towards this, 5 generations down or whatever it is. They do it differently than we do. And I guess my point is, if they're not doing that, if everybody doesn't follow us, well, we're just going to keep having bird flu come into the country, right?
Well, and I think what they're trying to do was develop a vaccine, and I heard they were making progress. But then that's another hitch, the fly in the ointment there is you vaccinate a bird for bird flu. Now, when you test that animal for bird flu, it's going to test positive because it has the antibodies. And so then other countries say, well, it might have bird flu, so we can't export our turkeys overseas. So it's not as simple as it sounds.
No, but mine is, even if you're not vaccinating them, the idea that a few generations down, the birds will become immune to that bird flu because, the immunity comes up. These are the guys that seems to me to make some sense. If we just keep killing every bird that gets bird flu and anybody around him, that will never change. Well, that's just how, and maybe I'm not that smart here. I'm just telling you, both those countries don't do the same thing. And if they don't, then the birds fly over those nasty places and they're bringing it up to America, and we're never going to win this war.
And I think reason that we try and euthanize the whole barn is because you have all this active virus out in the environment. So we can limit how much of that virus is in the environment. So I'm pretty sure that's why we do it that way. But you can't tell me that scientists aren't watching how other countries do it. Yeah. And maybe it will turn out to be better, and then we'll do it that way. But that's what's so cool about science. Science is never settled. We're always trying to figure out, and as we learn more, we learn how to do things better.
There you go. I've got to go to break, Jerry. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about prices and things that are going on with soybeans and corn. I've got him, Jerry Groskreutz. Well, we all got him. He's still around. Jerry Groskreutz with more right after this. He's Jerry Groskreutz, my farmer extraordinaire. We're talking all things farming today. I just read a story. Evidently, this is Brownfield. Demand for corn and wheat continues to be really solid. I saw that the president's giving out like $11 billion to farmers because of tariffs. But you and I have been sitting here all year long talking that the prices of soybeans have not gone down. Is this, what am I missing? Are they saying the prices would be higher without the tariffs? What am I missing, that if everything's the same?
I think that's what the thought is, because the prices are about where they were last year. And this is like the third year in a row now of financial stress. So a lot of farmers are in pretty severe financial stress. And so maybe the thought is that they would be a little bit higher. But you take, Al, that $11 billion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was 12 billion, 11 billion for the row crop. So it's corn and soybeans, cotton, and whatever. And it looks like it might be $40 an acre on corn and $30 an acre that we planted of soybeans last year. So while it's going to help, putting that in perspective, that's about what the real estate taxes cost.
No, I get it. It's paying Peter to play Paul. You're never going to get away from that whole system. I get that 100%. But it will help, and I presume, and maybe you'll tell me this. So everything's in, nothing's out there anymore. You've either got it in a bin or you got it sitting somewhere. You have to sell off what you need to so you can buy next year's stuff, right? I mean, is that what you're doing now? Snow's on the ground. You're planning how many bags of seed I need and how much nitrogen, pig poo, and that sort of thing?
Yep, that, and also you're hoping for higher prices so you can pay off last year's operating loan at your egg lender. So you're not only starting to make plans for what you're going to need next year, is to pay off the operating loan from last year. And a lot of those operating loans aren't going to be able to be completely paid off, and hopefully you have some equity. So it is tough. It's not like some of us that have been around for quite some time remember the farm crisis of the 80s. But boy, this is like the third year at least in a row of financial stress, and it starts to add up over time.
Sure. No, I get it. Okay, and good, bad, or different. I just want to know why, because, again, you've been telling me the soybean prices are the same. Here's another thing I didn't think you and I would ever be talking about: data centers. According to Wisconsin's Farming Union members, they're trying to restrict the number of data centers that are coming to Wisconsin, as I get it. And I presume it's because of the water. They use massive amounts of water for cooling. But, and this is where I'm getting you, Jerry, your farm doesn't do much with the aquifer, right? I mean, you don't pull much out of there. You either get rain or you don't. So what does a farmer care if a data center shows up?
I think it's more than the water. They use tremendous amounts of power, electricity. And the other thing, these are apparently they're humongous buildings. So you take a lot of acres of land out of production, but then you can take the contrary position there. Well, gee, we can produce too much food. We have low commodity prices. Maybe we should take some more land out of production.
Well, it's not like they're going to just
agreeing with that, but that's what
they're not just going to come take your land, Jerry. They're going to offer you a pretty penny price for it to make sure they got what they need. I guess I'm just sitting here. I don't understand why, quote unquote, Brownfield did the story. Why a farmer cares any more than the radio guy Al cares. You know, does it ruin the septic system? I don't know, but it doesn't affect farming, right? You're only dealing with water that falls down. You're not going down deep and picking it out of the well or anything to make your crops grow.
No, we just have wells for personal use and for livestock.
Yeah, okay. So, and maybe that has something to do with it. I saw the story and I didn't understand why, and I was worried about it.
While we're on that, because you're an intelligent guy.
I don't think so.
These data centers, is that what they're going to store all of this information? Is this kind of like when you say our cell phone is backed up in the cloud? Are these data centers, what's the cloud then?
It's that and AI. Evidently, this ability to ask your phone anything you ever wanted to know and have it think out a thought takes a crap load of digital space, and they're going to have that as redundancies. And that's yes, as I understand it, it's exactly that. It's if you want your phone to do this stuff and you want the speed that you want it to do, and you want your phone to make sure it never loses a photo, they have to have huge places to put it. And then it's electricity, like you say, and okay, they got to buy it. I get it, but it's also water to cool these things down. It evidently takes quite a little energy that way. But what do I know? Jerry, you know I love having you on the program, but boy, I'm glad you're doing well. And you got any big plans for Christmas? Everybody coming to you, I take it?
going to be pretty quiet with the family. And remember, your body talks to you. Pay attention. Go to your doctor and let the doctor say it's nothing, or let the doctor figure it out.
There you go. Love it, Jerry. Appreciate you, my friend. We'll do it again next week. All right.
Talk to you then, Al.
Jerry Groskreutz, farmer extraordinaire on the Al Travis Show. Much more coming up right after this.